with my man, special guest, someone I'm very proud to have on right now. Talk about an intelligent shit talker,
Ooh.
somebody who knows, who's super smart, knows what you guys don't know. So you need to listen, whether you agree or not. Take a listen and open your mind. And welcome, Dr. Randy Short.
Thank you, brother. I don't necessarily think I'm so smart, but I do like asking questions and thinking. You know,
That's
a lot of
smart.
folks treat thinking like it's having tertiary syphilis, AIDS, and chlamydia and shingles and septicemia at the same time. And you really do have to think. Thinking can save your life.
Yes.
A lot of our folk, I mean, we know that they're race soldier cops and everything else out there looking, gunning for you. But one thing that can keep you from, at least it can give you some protection from the craziness of life, in particular as a black man and woman, is that you think. I know what it's like to be accused of raping a white woman. I didn't touch, I didn't do anything to it, and the ball was rolling. I was thinking, if I went and started crying about being innocent, in as much as all black men are rapists and liars, that would just make people even angrier to destroy me, right? Everything that would be normal, like, man, I didn't touch, that would all be done against. I wouldn't be able to save, or because we don't have any rights to most of society.
Yes.
So what do you do when you've been, and a white woman said it, so it's true and it's binding, and you I, so I was thinking, God, my life just got destroyed because she's accused me. What do I do? Because since I'm a natural liar and a natural rapist and a natural crook as a black man, that's what we live in. Well, what do you do? And I knew, don't go in and ask for mercy or try to, because none of that's going to happen because you're not human, because you're black.
You're black.
So I decided to say, well, then be a good inhuman. Be a great inhuman. And I called a white principal and an important person that was in this process. And I told him, I'm going to make certain that this hurts you as much as it hurts me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I'm going to say that you're behind it. I'm going to put your name in it all kinds of ways. Everybody's going to think that you and I were in this together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I told him there's a chance, the way things are, because people always like a twisted story, that you got 3 things that I don't have. You got a house, actually 4 things. You got a house, a wife, a car, and kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to get all 4 of them. And I don't even know how to drive. Your kids will call me daddy. Your wife will call me daddy. I'll be living in your house. If they come and they arrest me over this pathological racist lying bitch,
Mm-hmm.
that you know nobody wants to screw. I mean, with teeth that you could kick a field goal through her front teeth, and you think somebody raped her, you bring them over here. Everybody's going to know that you told me to do it and that you manipulated me into it. I'll get you. You know what happened?
What?
It disappeared.
Oh.
I didn't ask for mercy. I didn't say I was innocent. I decided I was going to harm another person that was in the process. We black people often fall back on the very thing that we don't have, which is human value or moral credibility. Not to a white supremacist racist, you have none, you 0. You start off, you're already negative 0. On the other side of 0, just starting off being black. So how am I going to morally move you? I can't.
Yeah, you can't.
It was rigged, so there would be no way that you could grab onto anything in the system.
Mm-hmm.
One other situation that occurred, you'll make you laugh. You know, I do not hate people by their private lives, but I do hate the imposition of people's private fetishes on children and people who don't wish to be involved, in particular when taxpayer money is involved.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was trying to get one of the largest online white evangelical magazines to put a position out against this Gay Equality Act, which was basically trying to make the 1964 Civil Rights Act applicable to every kind of sexual confusion and gender dysphoria on the
Mm-hmm.
planet. And I just said, it's crazy. Look, let me tell you. So I called, and I thought I'm calling a Christian values, pro-life, everything. They should have just said, yes, we're we're going to support being, we're not going to support the Gay Equality Act. But I could tell as I spoke to the white woman on the phone, she was more interested in showing me that as a black person, it didn't matter what my concern was because I was black. She was on the opposite side of whatever. Even though what I was talking to her about is supposedly the same values she shared, because I was black raising it, it didn't count.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized this. Again, I did some more thinking. Okay, I've called a Christian evangelical thing way down in the Florida Bible Belt, down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I should have surely been able, right? We're talking about Anita Bryant country, right?
Yeah.
I should have been able to get some help. Well, let me tell you what happened. The lady was just ignoring me, and I think everybody black, all black Americans need to, not so much because anybody is more important than you, need to have exposure to other people, not because you want to breed with them or live next door to them or whatever, but just to know more about humanity because it gives you a different set of strategies for dealing with situations that you might have.
You want to know how other people get down?
Yes, and how to get down with them even when they don't want to get down
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
So when I realized she wasn't going to help me, she's just basically get off the phone, nigger. I don't care. Even if I agree with you, you're black. I don't want to agree with my own values just to show you don't matter.
Yes.
So I says, once I reached a certain point, I says, okay, I decided, let me deal with this. So I said to her, I don't think you understand. Let me help you understand the situation, man. So do you know I'm a descendant, right? I'm a direct blood descendant of John C. Breckinridge, the Secretary of War for the Confederacy.
Mm.
If the gay, yeah, and Vice President under James Buchanan,
Yeah.
who came in second behind Abraham Lincoln. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, a pro-slavery Democrat. I said to her, if the Gay Equality Act passes and I decide to be gay and a woman, I would be eligible just by my background to be head of the Daughters of the Confederacy.
Mm.
Would you like that? I said, you know how over the top black drag queens are? Can you see big black dudes with beards, with parasols and hoop skirts trying to be the next Scarlett O'Hara? Do you? I said, do you know what that's going to do if I'm in the women's room? What's that going to do with the little girls' room with all these black drag queens? What's that going to do for race relations? Do you think that's right for us to have black men install urinals in the white women's room? This lady exploded. She typed the article in 5 minutes. I spent 20 minutes trying to get her to see. The minute I told her and she understood, I mean, because the bloodline, all that stuff matters. I mean, there are a whole bunch of folks in this Confederate shit, and my man is at the very top of the Confederate Army. Don't I qualify to be a big shot in that thing? And all of a sudden, ding, 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 ding. So instead, we have to learn to think.
Mm-hmm.
to create situations wherein, even if, Black people need to revisit the stories of Brer Rabbit or Brother Rabbit, which are West African stories. The rabbit is the Black person. Brer Rabbit gets over, plays dogs, pimps harder than anybody in the story, even though they're rabbit. If you know anything about rabbits, rabbits are not predators; they're prey. Everything can kill and eat rabbits, just about.
Yeah.
The rabbit survives through intelligence, counterintelligence, strategizing, and maneuvering to fight against greater enemies that have greater physical power and more lethality.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Brer Rabbit stories are about.
Okay.
Our people say, "Oh, that's some old slave shit. I want fucking it." I'm so tired of dumb fuck millennials and dumb fuck Generation Xers. The minute they hear of anything before 1970, they cancel it. We've been on cancel culture for 50 years as a people. It's killing us. Everything that used to happen isn't discardable, nor should it be. There's some very good things that Black people were doing before 1970 that we should pick that back up. Like
a lot of good things, yeah.
A man being a man, a woman being a woman, kids being kids, and seniors not acting like they're the fucking children. I see some old ass Black women with spandex on, and I got a belly ring. I mean, the wrinkles covering it. I mean, and you could see my nipple ring. Let me pull my breast up. It's like on the lower knee, and she's like pulling.
She throw it over her shoulder and say, "Look at
and that's the first
old ass titties out of here, lady."
Yeah, that's the first super soaker, anyway.
Hey, Dr. Shore, before we go too much deeper, a lot of my audience is new to you. Tell them just a little bit of your background. Not too long, just whatever you want to share.
Okay. I'm from Washington, D.C., or should I say I'm from Northern Virginia. I was initially raised on the the northeast corner of George Washington's plantation. No, northwest corner of George Washington's plantation. Area that white people had ripped off of Black people, called Gum Springs. And then, of course, my family moved to D.C. My parents are from D.C. And I'm like a lot of folks. I'm a combination of people who are descendants of people that moved from the South to larger cities. At least part of my family. The other part of my family is Black, white, Indian combination, and some of the people in my family have been raising hell. Some folks were farmers. That's for me. I'm sort of an over-educated, highly opinionated Black man with a background in history and social science. And I care passionately about Black folks. I mean, we could go on, and it'll come up, but Black folks are if we just took the time to find out, we're really a large family.
Very large.
A very large family. We've never taken the time to know who we are. And so things as strange as Bill Cosby being a cousin of mine, Marvin Gaye was a cousin of mine, Emmett Till was a cousin of mine, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was a cousin of mine, Nat Turner, some kind of family member. And I'm not saying that for anyone because, hey, I ain't that. Mm-hmm. Somehow my mother's folks are related to the Williamses in Greensboro, Georgia. Mm. The reason I'm mentioning Greensboro, Georgia and the Williamses, that's Martin Luther King's maternal line. Okay. On my mother's mother's side, they have relatives that are named Little from Charleston, South Carolina. These are the same Littles that were moved to Georgia that give you Malcolm Little.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how close in, but it is what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I have relatives named Brown,
Okay.
and there was supposed to be a Bishop Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I was told was related to us, who was the first Black Episcopal bishop in West Africa that was assassinated in 1969.
Black Americans is a big family, and people don't really.
It's yeah, but we are so we're so petty.
Yeah.
We're too small.
Yeah.
We don't recognize the power of family and larger units. The way that the white folk took down the Indians was that they got larger units to smash little teeny tiny units that didn't want to come together. Africa's dominated by being cantonized, broken into lots of pieces. They come as a group, and we bad. I could just fight all the niggas by myself.
Mm-hmm.
My dick and my nut sack is bigger than yours.
Yeah.
Instead of us consolidating and coming together as best we can.
How did you get into DC in that area, into politics?
Well, it's wow. Put it to you like this.
Mm-hmm.
DC, if I can be precise, or Potomac. It means the place of abundance. The river is called the Potomac. It means many fish or many things. It means greatness. Place of greatness is what Washington, D.C. was called in the language of my great-grandmother, who's one of the Black Indians. Mm-hmm. And yet the people that were in D.C., I'm a damn Washington Redskin, for real.
That's what people don't understand. The Redskins ain't some Tonto. It's you.
No, it's me. It's my grandmother.
Yeah,
I'll send you a picture of my grandmother. She's an Indian medicine woman. Mm-hmm. We are the goddamn Indians. So
say it again.
We are the goddamn Indians. Okay. Yeah. So how can I do this? So since there's been a Washington, D.C., there's been a presence or activity from people in the family. But I want to go back maybe almost about 80, almost 80 years. What actually happened was my grandfather had a situation like what I had. I told you about with Joe Biden knocking me down on the sidewalk. A white man assaulted him on the sidewalk down in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, about 1934.
I've been to Rocky Mount.
Huh?
I've been to Rocky Mount.
Okay, well, and not only did he assault my grandfather, but tried to make him get in a mud puddle with his brand new linen suit from Norfolk, Virginia, and my grandfather couldn't go for that, and one fight led to the other, and then my grandfather did what's pretty consistent in the family, I find, which is why we're scattered. My grandfather got a gun, loaded it up, and executed the sheriff of Rocky Mount's son downtown about 1935 at lunchtime, so people could see he did it.
Damn.
And so what happened? My great aunt, his sister, put him in a steamer chest, and they postmarked him to Morocco.
Damn. Morocco, the first place to grant the United States its independence.
Okay, and then my grandfather came back, and then he moved to D.C. My grandfather, I don't know exactly, but what's been said is that the white gentleman, or the supposed white gentleman who was a congressman for that area of North Carolina, was a family member, and my grandfather went to his office on Capitol Hill, and it created a scandal because my grandfather allegedly looked just like the member of Congress. So basically, my grandfather was able to get everybody in the family in the nicest public housing in DC. As a result, my grandfather became a boss because we had, like, in one of the public housing projects, like 200 family members in one place, which means that, and my grandfather was involved with the NAACP, with Paul Robeson and people like this way, way back. My grandfather would run for offices as a Republican. They would steal it from him because he was black. My grandmother was an activist. She used to call and cuss out Eleanor Roosevelt in the 30s and 40s. So they raise
You got it honest.
So, and of course, my father was in the NAACP Youth League. My dad was one of the first young black people to come on television for a TV program called Youth Wants to Know. My grandmother was one of the first black women in commercial television, selling milk to mothers for babies. And so the people are kind of active. And of course, my mother's active. My father and mother did all kinds of things to work with youth for decades. And so as a consequence, when you try to help people, try to get food, housing, you become political, not so much if you want to run for office, but, you know, in order to get stuff, you have to go to the people who have it. Make a long story short, what is this class vice president for McKinley Technical High School here in DC. And I don't know, I helped people win the student body things at Howard so we could have an anti-apartheid struggle in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And I think I worked on campaigns to bring down Dukakis. Yeah, I couldn't stand him. I was involved with a group called the Mandela Initiative to get black people to withdraw from Boston if they don't provide, that they would have a section, it was called Focusing Attitudes Towards Empowerment. So I used to canvas to get black folks to agree to leave the city, to be annexed from Boston, to have their own city, since they can't get any services from downtown. And from there, I mean, but what ultimately happened was I started working. I liked Marion Barry, but some of the people under were not looking out for black people. So I started working on the Republican side to raise hell. Okay. So I don't know. I've worked with I was an elector for Cynthia McKinney when she ran, because I went to Harvard with Obama. He's a piece of shit who hates black people's guts. Yeah, I said it. I've disliked him since 1988. I don't plan to stop.
Since 88?
Yes, we at Harvard the same 3 years.
Okay.
So
you knew Obama. You knew about Obama before he got onto the national scene. Because most of us don't know anything about who he was before 2006.
And most people won't let you tell them. They're so stupid. Black folks are so fucking stupid. We're literally, you know what? We're giving people gift cards for putting us in gas chambers these days. Look, let me just tell you real fast. And I will keep telling people the same story. The Ivy League schools are nothing but psychological indoctrination and mind control to get black people to think that they're better than the rest, and then be willing toys or ploys or tools to destroy the majority of black folks who are already suffering and struggling. That's why they let you in their schools. Trust me, they're not letting you in their schools for you to build up your own people. You're out of your damn mind if that's what you think they let you in there for. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's not why they let you in. And I didn't like being at Harvard. I can't say I've paid my student loan off, and I can't tell you that I will. Shit, they need to they need reparations for having to be up around all that stuff. So I remember being really, really angry at school, and I was trying to find some intelligent black life that wasn't completely fagged out, cooned out, tommed out, chumped out, bitched out black folks. And I went over to the law school because I was in the school of religion, and I think you've heard me talk about nigger preachers. That's shit. Just I'm getting angry just saying nigger preachers. If you knew how terrible the black ministers are, they're the worst. They're worse than the Bloods and Crips.
Yeah,
and
they shut us out.
there's no jail for their asses. We don't have mass incarceration for crooked ass preachers. Now I would support that deal. Lock all their asses up.
I would too.
Okay. Forgive me, I'm getting mad. These having preachers that set me off. Look, I was so mad at those people. I went to the law school. That's pretty bad when you're trying to talk to some lawyers or wannabe lawyers to get away from the preachers. And I happened to walk in on the Federalist Society, the same Federalist Society that Ward Connolly set up in your state of California to destroy black people.
Mm-hmm.
They had a big chapter at Harvard.
Wow.
Okay, they had a secret meeting. I had no idea that I would walk in on a secret meeting of the Federalist Society who had a special guest speaker, Barry Soetoro,
AKA Barack Obama, for those who don't know. Wow, so you're saying the Federalist Society, as anti-black as they are,
at Harvard University, at law school, had a Federalist Society. Yes, they did.
And they claim liberal and all this other stuff.
They don't claim, no. The most segregated city in America for black people is Boston. It's absolutely terrible. Look, I have family up there. I don't even go up there. The only thing they have good up there is the clams and the seafood. And actually, I don't even want that. I can just buy it from I just don't go up there. Let me just say to you, I'm in the student union of Harvard Law School. It's called the Harkness Common, where they have their mailboxes, where they get their cases printed out and all this stuff. They have a little store, the bookstore, and all that's there. And I hear someone in a loudspeaker talking about how much they hate black people, making jokes, insulting, talking about how ugly and stupid and that black people are. And mind you, I was pissed when I walked from the divinity school, which is right next to the law school. I was trying to get away from Coons. And I'm trying to get some peace, and I hear some coon saying all this stuff. I was really angry, right? I mean, I just want to beat up somebody. And he's at the north end of the building, because I came in the south main entrance of the building. It's a long building. And I see in my mind a light-skinned, biracial, about 6 feet tall gay dude in my mind as I'm hearing him talk. And when I get to the place where all the students sit for these meetings, it was the very person in my mind, he's up there talking. When Obama, he started talking about how much he hated the Black Law School Student Association, how off black people are, and how he's not black, but he can't convince black people that he's not black, right? This is the kind of stuff he said, and they're laughing.
They're laughing at that.
They're laughing, and I mean, he's loving it. Okay, this actually happened. I've said this time and time again. That bastard Obama will never take me into court because I'd destroy him, because it did happen. Okay. When I got there were only two, well, at least in appearance, black people there, him and me. He looked at me in fear. But they're like about 25. I can't fight all those people.
Mm-hmm.
And I says, he's already too far gone. He hates his guts. He hates our guts. I says, well, the best thing I can do, like I said earlier, using your mind thinking, get this bastard's name. You're going to see him again. He's going places fast and in a hurry. And when he gets there, he's going to fuck up black people.
Mm-hmm.
So when I walk off Obama makes a nasty remark about black folk being crazy like the one me, and they all start laughing. I see some brothers one of the dormitories, and I asked them, "Who's the mulatto in there? He lies better than Richard Nixon. He's got a future ahead of him. Who is it?" And they said, "Obama." I'm from D.C. You can get shot in the head calling someone Bama.
Mm-hmm.
So when I heard Obama, I said, "Oh, wow, what the fuck? What? What? What?" And it says Barry Obama. And I says, he's going to be president. He's going to go all the way. He's going to stab us in the back and walk over us to get there. Damn. The first thing I did was I went and I got to a public payphone because there weren't cell phones then, and called a friend of mine up in Oakland, California, or maybe he was in D.C., and says, "There's this half-breed faggot at the law school named Obama some shit. He's going to be president and fuck us. Damn it. And in 20 some odd years, he'll be president. He'll fuck all of us. You'll see. You'll see." I think like this was in 1988. 2008, didn't his ass win the election?
Yes, sir.
I can give you the number of Mr. Eric Shanks up in Oakland, California, and he'll tell you, yeah, I called him screaming and crying, cursing about this fake ass half-breed bisexual that was going to destroy black people.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine how I feel in 2003 when I start seeing this Obama name show up again. And I just said, fuck it, it's Harvard. They were trying to get all the people that went to Harvard to get behind their back in 2002 or 2003, whenever he ran for the damn Senate. And I was like, I saw Harvard. I said, fuck it. I don't care. I don't care who it is. I'm not interested. And I was in Ghana, at the University of Ghana, Legon, Ghana, in the summer of 2004, talking to people about how the gay movement is hurting black people, talked about Coons and Uncle Toms, talked about experiences at Harvard. I just told the story that I just told you, to try to explain to people in Ghana what it's like in America. And I'm serious. I just talked about this bastard. And he's on the news saying there's no such thing as Black America. And I says, that's the fact that I was telling you. That's the shit nobody's listening to me. I says, oh my God, it's him. When I got back, my mentor, who died November 2018, Dr. Suleiman Yang of Howard University's Department of African Studies, I told him there's this bisexual that's going to be president named Obama. And I just was praying, God, please, God, please. I want to be wrong. Make me wrong. Make me a liar so this stuff doesn't happen to us.
Yeah.
But it did happen. I told Dr. Yang he was someone I could talk to about stuff. I explained to Dr. Yang that Obama was going to beat Hillary Clinton. I says he's not. He says, well, what? I says, well, Bill Clinton's going to say something to insult black people. And then Obama will win the Democratic nomination off of a racist comment that Bill Clinton makes. Says, when Bill Clinton makes a statement, I'll call you. When Bill Clinton made that statement in New Hampshire, I called my mentor at Howard and says, Obama's now the Democratic Party nominee.
Mm-hmm.
Bet your life on it. He's won. Hillary's finished. The whole black community is going to turn on the Clintons and never going to come back. I'm telling you, it just happened.
And it happened.
Certain people claim that I have ESP. Certain people claim I'm psychic. Certain people say I'm prophetic. Certain people say I've got the ability to read the future. People bug me all day long. I'm not a crystal ball, though I did cut my head bald. But even it's not crystal, right? But, the people, my mother, other people, going back to, I said to you, my great-grandmother's a medicine woman, right?
Yeah.
My ancestors from Senegal were Sufis. They're all into dreams and
All into
mysteries and
that.
so forth, right? So maybe I got some of it where you see stuff like I told people Trump's gonna win. I told people you bet your ass Trump is winning. Trump will win. Just deal with it. No matter what you do, and sometimes people remember what I tell them, sometimes they forget, but I don't forget that I told someone something. Like I told my fellowship 2 weeks ago, John Lewis was going to die because I had to pray again. The guy killed his ass. Okay. Last year, 2019, when I heard John Lewis was trying to get federal legislation to give black babies to white gay men, I prayed that God expedite his death, let him live to be 80, and pull the plug on his ass. I'm not a stingy person. Give him 10, and pull the plug. I'm not asking for right now, God, but I'm asking for as close to 80 as you can cut that shit off. Do it.
I'm glad you brought it up because I wanted to go into that. You've been around John Lewis. You've seen his work or the work he has or hasn't done. What are your thoughts on John Lewis and just overall the Congressional Black Caucus?
Well, I say Congressional Black Circus.
Black Circus.
Because they don't caucus about nothing. Okay. They take their payoff separately. Look, black people we're at stage 7 of a genocide, and our people don't read or don't follow. And people have to understand that all genocides are facilitated by compromised leadership. We have the best, most traitorous, elected, appointed religious leadership to destroy us as a race. It's, I know I believe in God because knowing how I see things, I'd be a very suicidal person. Looking at things, stuff I can tell you, and I'm not even that deep, just it almost, if I didn't believe in God, I would have ended it all a long time ago because it's just so terrible. Let me just give you an example. Let's go to John Lewis's bitch ass. My beginning, I think Bernard Lafayette, who's super close buddy to John Lewis, was a friend of my father and mother. Bernard Lafayette's first wife is a movement aunt of mine. Mother Kalia Liddell Lafayette Odell Clark, who was Medgar Evers' assistant, executive assistant. Okay, this is real people.
Yeah.
Okay, he turns 80 this week. I think tomorrow. Okay, this woman was the one that created the Selma movement. Okay, John Lewis was the best man in her wedding to Bernard Lafayette. Now, what am I going to say? I'll say to you what she told me. Everybody knew all the way back to the 60s, John Lewis was a coward. John Lewis had no courage. John Lewis was weak, but a nice person, but weak. John Lewis is selfish. Now, that's what Mother Kalia Clark, and he was the best man at her wedding. Okay, if you go and listen to True Power's Mind platform, I'm not trying to advertise, and you hear a woman talking, and I'm saying all this negative stuff about John Lewis, and they're laughing, he was the best man at her wedding. She's okay. Reverend C.T. Vivian just died, right? Died the same day as John Lewis. I'm very close to C.T. Vivian. I could call C.T. Vivian and make fun of John Lewis, and he'd laugh. I do John Lewis's voice. Look, for some reason, everybody has it in their circle. You have a nigga that laughs, that makes everybody laugh because shit is always bad when you're black. There's one person that can just make people laugh no matter what the hell is going on because humor is a weapon, right?
Humor is definitely a weapon.
So I would call up Reverend C.T. Vivian and make fun of and do Farrakhan and or talk like John Lewis. And these are people that like him. They would laugh because it's true.
Uh-huh.
It's not kind, but it actually is true. And it's funny. So let me tell you, I think I met John Lewis once because he came up to Howard's campus, but I met John Lewis as an adult when I'm absolutely certain I met him, going to his office in 1986.
Six is the year that was the year he got elected, 86.
Or 86, 87, something like that. Maybe it's 87. And I went to his office with my David Chappelle's first cousin, who was my running buddy from high school, a guy by the name of Cecil Tucker. Okay, because Dave Chappelle's mom used to share office with my dad at Howard. She's a really nice lady, Mother Sion. So Cecil was a model. My friend Eric Shanks, the same one in Oakland, is there. I want you to meet. We were three good-looking black men that went to John Lewis's office to talk to him. Do you know that nigga opened the door to see us? You can't walk in no congressman's office. And, oh, nice to meet you, young man. What do y'all want to do? Would y'all like some peanuts? We have Coca-Cola. That dude, I mean, he would have probably all got us pizza and shit. He was getting off. And I just started thinking about this. He saw three good-looking black men. His door, everything stopped. Folk were bringing us shit, giving us books and things. I didn't think anything of it until like the last 2 days. That dude was getting off to looking at three good-looking black men in his office. I never ever thought. I just felt happy to be received. But he said, y'all can have all the peanuts you want. And he said, oh, the good peanut, good trouble peanut. Okay. Now, let me just do this so we can keep this in perspective. John Lewis got the shit beat out of him. We know it, and he never let us forget that he got the shit beat out of him. His ass got beat so badly until he had certain sorts of neurological problems. It's a fact.
Oh, wow.
All right. Now, John Lewis was a complete fuck up and a flop on the Atlanta City Council. He didn't have the mental interest, energy, or finesse for doing the work of a city council person. That's trash collection, that's sewers, that's pest removal, that's schools, that's stuff that people truly, really need done day to day, right? John Lewis was a total fuck up as a city council person in Atlanta. And they had to get his ass off the city council because he was going to lose. He didn't do shit. But they needed to send him somewhere after they put his ass out to get beat by everybody. And you know, especially like white folk, he probably thought it was a kiss when they were hitting him. Oh, on this side, on this cheek. So John Lewis, the people got together and gave John Lewis that congressional seat as a payback for him literally putting his life on the line in the movement. It never had a fucking thing to do with helping the constituents in the 5th Congressional District of Georgia. And if you go there now, you'll see black people don't have anything. Now, the other thing we want to say, that John Lewis was close to one suspect and one definitely gay icon of the civil rights movement. Bayard Rustin. Bayard Rustin was particularly close to John Lewis, and John Lewis had a good working relationship with A. Philip Randolph that never had any children. Certain people say it's suspect, but by the way, who worked with A. Philip Randolph? Bayard Rustin. Bayard Rustin. Now you see. So, all right. Turds of a feather pile up together.
Turds of a feather pile up together.
That's right. Don't you like that?
I like that.
Okay. Now, so the whole thing, and we got to talk about the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. They did get some civil rights stuff done, but it was a big sellout for. There was a split in SNCC. There's some pro-black people in SNCC, and then there were folk that just want to. We just want to swirl the world, right? We just want some white pussy or some white dick, and we want race to go away. So there are two SNCCs. There's a Stokely Carmichael faction, and there's a John Lewis coon ass faction. All right. And John Lewis was a coon all the way back then. H. Rap Brown's no coon. Marion Barry's no coon. Stokely Carmichael's no coon.
Tell it.
Fannie Hamer's not a coon. Those folks got played out, and the John Lewis faction, the Dick Lickett Good Trouble faction of SNCC, they're the ones that you see everywhere.
And that's just, and I'm glad you brought that up, because on my last broadcast this past Saturday, I was pointing out how to identify the real versus the fake. And the real don't get highlighted on the evening news every night. They don't talk about
the real, because the media is a white supremacist weapon. And it is about representing lies and falseness and propaganda. Reality is offensive to the elite. Reality that you need to share the wealth is offensive to a narcissistic, hoarding, greedy pig. Okay? So, and they've done everything. John Lewis has more movies than Clark Gable.
Well,
I mean, they tried to make him into our leader, and I'm so glad his ass is gone. But look, let me give another anecdote, because I have to do this. I reconnected with John Lewis through my dear friend, Dr. James Farmer of the Congress of Racial Equality, because he was friends to my grandmother via adoption, Irene Amos Morgan Kirkcaldy, the mother of the Civil Rights Movement. She's a black woman, July 16th, 1944, that kicked two white cops' asses on a Greyhound bus in Saluda, Virginia, and refused to pay a $10 fine to get out of trouble.
That's a bad one right there.
And she went all the way to the Supreme Court and won. The first case that outlawed Jim Crow segregation, separate but equal, is Morgan versus the Commonwealth of Virginia of 1946. So every seminal black person, whether it's John Lewis, C.T. Vivian, Martin Luther King, Stokely Carmichael, Diane Nash, James Bevel, Bernard Lafayette, or Reverend Lawson, all the people involved in the Freedom Rides. The Freedom Rides were an effort to force the states to comply with federal law as mandated by the Morgan Statute. So it didn't start off nonviolent.
Yeah.
And if you knew my grandma, she's a nice person, but she wasn't nonviolent.
Yeah.
Don't touch me. She told the cop, don't touch her. He did. She started kicking him in the nuts. And threw him off the bus.
See? And we need these are the kind of stories we need to hear, because most people think it was that John Lewis, we shall overcome, but kick me in the ass.
No. Grandma didn't like John Lewis. Grandma didn't like John Lewis. Grandma liked Malcolm X.
Yeah.
You touch me, I shoot you. I beat you up. I can't handle. She's from Baltimore. You know how hard Baltimore gets down.
Yeah.
Folk will shoot each other at a birthday party. Just don't mess with people in Baltimore. Just don't. Don't find out. Now look, because I did a research paper on my grandmother, and I reconnected with Dr. Farmer, who I had met when I was 5 years old or 6, 71 or 70, right? And we reconnected to do oral history on my grandmother, because she is the mother of all the freedom rides.
Mm-hmm.
That James Farmer did a freedom ride in 1947 because they were trying to copy my grandmother. Everybody's all of this comes off this lady.
That's what's up.
But she said she could be in, I can't be in the movement. I'm violent. Someone will hit me and we'll just have to fight.
Ain't gonna be
So
they gonna get messed up.
so yes, and she was only 4'11" and beat up the 2 police.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now having said that, I fought the Howard University Board of Trustees to get honorary doctorates for Stokely Carmichael and James Farmer. Then James Farmer died July 9th, 1999, and he didn't have a lot of money. And we didn't want it to be a mediocre memorial for James Farmer. So I reconnected with John Lewis, and he helped.
Okay.
John Lewis could be one of the most helpful, kind people on a lot of ceremonial stuff, okay? I want to say this. John Lewis is always kind, respectful, helping on a personal level. And a lot of black folks take the personal level, kindness, politeness, decency, as sufficing for leadership that gets stuff done for the maximum number of people. If you want to be a nice person that's just kind of, be a fucking community leader, a street mayor, be a pastor, be whatever, but don't go into political politics where it is Hunger Games and you're fighting to get everything you can for your constituency. John Lewis sucked in that capacity.
Yeah.
One-on-one, John Lewis, always kind. I want to make this very clear for all the folk out there who think, oh, it's only because, oh, well, he's gay. Or that. Nope. I'm more of an adult than that. Okay, I'll tell anybody. I love James Baldwin. I just didn't like who he screwed. James Baldwin was on time 90% of the time. And he didn't push his personal stuff. He was very clear about fighting for blackness. Okay, I'm a black firster. What's in my mouth or in my rear or where I stick my penis is secondary to the survival of my group, except for in terms of the woman that you're with or the children that come as a result of where you stick your penis or who you spread your lotus flower for, ladies.
Mm-hmm.
John and them put that sexuality and illegals and everybody ahead of black folks.
Boom. That's what it is.
And that is the crime, and that is what's made me accurate. And see, our people are so stupid about nuance. If he's a pleasant person, we miss everything else. Okay? Now, mind you, I met John Lewis again. That's in 1999, but in 1994, until 1997, I worked in public television for the NewsHour with Jim Lehrer. And John Lewis was the #1 man who worked to get the Biden mass incarceration crime bill passed in the Congress. He is the black face of approving mass imprisonment of black people. Now, there are lots of black folks beaten and killed all over the country. Yet John Lewis only talks about when his ass got beat. He didn't get shot. Trayvon Martin got shot. Breonna Taylor got shot. Big Mike got shot. John Lewis, coon fans out there, you fucking coons who want to make him getting beat. And at least he became a millionaire and all that. But the people that we see getting beat by the cops, George Floyd and others, they never come back. Bobby Hutton got shot. Malcolm X got shot. Dr. King got shot. Medgar Evers got shot. The folks in Orangeburg, South Carolina got shot. Panthers shot all over this country. Black men, every year on average, they may kill up to 1,000 black folks or 1,500 black people shot and killed by police nationally for decades. In the prisons, as many as 3,000 to 4,000 black men suicided or killed in prisons every year. And John Lewis wants to tell you about his ass getting beat a month after I was born 55 years ago.
A month. Damn, that put it in perspective right there. His ass whooping was a month before you were born,
A
and
month
before
after. A month
after,
after.
and he spent.
Hold on. The Selma protests launched March 9th. I was born February 9th. I think the Bloody Sunday, I think it's March 12th or 13th. I can't pull my phone down, but you might be able to pull yours and see. It's no later than the 15th of March that they had Bloody Sunday. Forgive me for not having the exact date. I'm a historian, but I know it's March of 1965.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, they used the Edmund Pettus Bridge news and that to ignore the assassination of our dear brother Malcolm X. He never got the play that he deserved because John Lewis's ass getting beat. Malcolm's dead in the hail of gunfire, executed in front of his wife and babies, and we crying over John Lewis's ass.
I didn't realize that happened at the same time. Wow. Okay.
No, it's a month apart.
Oh, yeah.
Malcolm, by the way, Malcolm gets killed on the 20th or some 22nd, 23rd, 24th of February because Malcolm X's house was bombed 4 days after I was born.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that Malcolm died in the last week of February.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to get Malcolm out of the headlines, and they had these coons down in Alabama. Now, so I know from being in the newsroom, watching John Lewis and Maxine Waters were the key Black members of Congress that fought for Black mass incarceration. You heard me.
Wow.
Maxine Waters, she's a lying bitch.
Auntie Maxine is what they like to call her.
I mean, a wig-wearing salamander that ain't doing nothing for y'all. Ain't never done nothing. She's from East St. Louis. She ain't never done nothing for them either. She's a millionaire. She's rich. And it's alleged her husband likes young girls. I would like young girls too. She's got more cracks in her face than San Andreas. Damn. Dude. I thought black didn't crack till I looked at Maxine. It's really cracked, like a busted bottle over by Watts Towers and shit. Damn.
Do Maxine Waters and Gayle King get their wigs from the same maker?
No, I think Gayle King has a stale version of a Ronald McDonald ad wig. It looked like they need to curl it back up. I mean, damn, bitch. I mean, Ronald give you one with the fro, but the curly one that Ronald wears would make her too black and ethnic. So she's trying to, pass herself off as a dark Japanese. I mean,
and I want to just let everybody know we listen to Hotep-ish, hotepish.com. Dr. Randy Short's our special guest. Y'all see his name, his Cash App on the bottom. Hit Dr. Short's Cash App. This man is putting in the work for our people. And we're
going to do more. We're going to do more. This is the thing. We're escalating. Let me just say to you. So I watched John Lewis advocate for all of the stuff that Clinton did that hurt black people. John Lewis was for. Okay. John Lewis was for. When they had the meeting, there was a meeting where they went on to have a news conference after Hurricane Katrina happened. You know who wasn't with the members of Congress that were outraged?
Who?
John Lewis.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Y'all love him. I don't give a damn. You know what? I'm going to keep being in the minority of black people that think cursing coons, disrespecting y'all, making y'all miserable. I hope that black people like me mentally traumatize the coons as much as racism does me. People are not going to do it because it's the right thing. They're going to have to be driven out of their minds to reach our point of view. Now, I'm going to go somewhere with John Lewis.
Go ahead.
Yeah. John Lewis personally was cool. I made certain that it didn't make him a monster because there's some people that are nasty all around. That was not John Lewis. But my mentor, or should I say, another movement uncle, Smith, and Smith's name is leaving me, but his wife is named Elaine. Why am I not remembering Smith's first name? Um, anyway, Mr. Smith from Stone Mountain, Georgia. It'll come to me in a second. He was a very close friend to C.T. Vivian. And both him and C.T. Vivian would say, John is for John. John is for John.
That's
Philip
it.
Smith. Philip Smith, whose family's from Chicago. His father had the first black recognized union within the AFL-CIO, the Black Painters Union of Chicago. Philip Smith Jr. would say to me, John Lewis is a punk, chump, sissy, only out for himself. He died 2012. C.T. Vivian did his eulogy. I'm just trying to say, I actually know some of these people. We're friends. We're involved, right? The last conversation I had with C.T. Vivian, by the way, I was telling him about every child deserves a loving home legislation where John Lewis was going to push to make it federal law that you had to give black children to white gays to raise. And when I called Reverend Vivian, who he's gone, I loved him.
Yeah.
He had dementia or Alzheimer's or both. But, sometimes when people have dementia and all this, they remember certain people. They come back if it's you. I called Reverend Vivian up and told him what John had done. And Reverend Vivian was going to call and cuss John Lewis out. He just wanted me to send him H.R. 5, which was H.R. 2282. And now it's Senate Bill 787. But I could see it would have been cruel to send this stuff to a man he wasn't who he was on the way out. It would have been wrong. They were both friends, leave it alone. And John Lewis had already committed himself to illegals and to LGBTQ and all that, and not our community. So there's nothing C.T. Vivian could really say or do. John, if you confronted John Lewis when he was in the wrong, he would shut up and get quiet like a little kid, hold his head down. Okay, and he wouldn't scream and try to buck that.
Sorry.
He wasn't that kind of person. But I'm just telling you, this is real. Now, look, John Lewis did not help around Katrina. John Lewis said nothing during Flint. John Lewis has said nothing about these police killings. John Lewis has said nothing about the housing foreclosure crisis, $1 trillion left our community. John Lewis said nothing about eugenics. John Lewis has said nothing about the AIDS crisis. I even says, hey, John Lewis, you're so in the gay shit. Why don't you speak out about black men dying from septicemia because they've got bowel movement and lube in their bloodstream from their vascular tissue being contaminated from having rough anal sex, bareback sex. Warn people, so if you love this gay stuff so much, let these brothers live. Raise money. At least get them some damn AIDS medicine. I mean, if gay lives matter, then damn it, stand on something. You don't stand for the sissies. You don't stand for the blacks. I'm talking about black sissies. Now, white sissies, he do stuff. Jewish, Zionists, everything, just not us. Now, let me come back to John. John, in 1996, because there was a hit out on Cynthia McKinney in 1996 to get her ass out of Congress. Nancy Pelosi, Rahm Emanuel, and a range of other people decided to destroy Cynthia McKinney, a friend of mine. Mm-hmm. Al Gore, the Clintons, everybody was in on, don't help Cynthia, let Cynthia fail. Mm-hmm. To John Lewis's credit, he let Cynthia McKinney have a fundraiser in his basement. I think maybe he came late. Maybe he wrote Cynthia a check. It wasn't well attended, but he did let her have it in. Now, he had rank in the party. He could have let her do a fundraiser somewhere else, but he did something. Now, I'm bringing this up because I was there, right? I helped set up the event. I helped clean up the event. And towards cleaning up, I'm going to tell this story. I started saying this because I mean, I did everything I could, to expose John Lewis this last 2.5 years because I've been angry about this.
Mm-hmm.
John Lewis's wife came after the event was over, and I was sweeping the floor in the basement of John Lewis's house. And I saw these feet coming down the steps, and I was sweeping that area. And I look up as the feet come down. I see a woman looking at me with a very outraged look on her face. So I say, "Hi, Mrs. Lewis." She looks at me, sneers, spins around on her stiletto heels, and storms out the basement, slamming the door.
Mm.
John Lewis runs upstairs, and they have a violent argument. Cynthia McKinney, Robin Sanders, and maybe one other person in the basement are looking at me like, "Do you know them?" No. What did I get out of that? I'm glad you asked.
Mm-hmm.
Living in D.C., a whole lot of people in the boule, and John Lewis was in the boule. A lot of these people are in. He's in one of those, I think he's a Sigma. All of these people in the boule, a lot of them are bisexual. They have a wife to make it look good, and they're in the men.
Mm-hmm.
It's all over D.C., it's all over Atlanta, it's all over Chicago, it's all over L.A. I call it L.A. And these people, basically, the woman swaps having some good regular dick for ermine and pearls and to be a wife of a heavy hitter power broker. I guess you get to, I mean, you're going to the Swiss Alps and your husband's fucking the room attendant, but at least you made it to Switzerland, right? And a lot of sisters are so materialistic, they're not into the love. They can't love the nigga that's working for UPS, even if you'll dick him all night long. Anybody can fuck me. Can you take me to Sydney, Australia, so I can go? A lot of our folks are so damn materialistic. I don't want love. I want stuff that kills price tags. I don't want love, right?
Yeah.
So, John Lewis's wife, I thought, was assumed that John had me in the house for what John wanted to do. And that's what the fight was about. And he was trying to tell her that's not a side piece of mine. In other words, as they're fighting, we're in the house. We had to let ourselves out of the Lewis residence. Now, come on. If you're a host and you have people in your house and you leave them, what the hell? I mean, so, and I guess he couldn't look at us because he'd have to try to explain what. So the way he dealt with this just, I mean, and we were there for like another hour. Mm-hmm. John Lewis disappeared.
He just left.
Now, I saw John Lewis with his wife again at the Kennedy Center. And I waved and he smiled. And his wife looked over like, damn, I got to compete with all these dicks out here. I mean, it was like, really, it was really. And to make his wife say, look, I don't want you little bald-headed, oompa looking rundown nigga. I mean, I don't want him. I spoke to him at a distance. But if you're a brother, a man, one office you could get work in was John Lewis. You could get a job in there. Okay, especially if you could do shorthand and dictation. Okay, you could get a job in John Lewis's office. I could have gotten a job. No, thank you. But he always helped. And so his wife was looking all. In fact, his wife died 10 years ago.
Oh.
And you didn't know he had a wife. He's probably party. It's a party going on right here. Celebrate. When his wife died, he probably celebration. You be a sodomite and have a good time.
No. When he played his Raining Men, that's what happened when it happened.
It's raining semen. It's raining semen.
And folks, I just want to get everybody listening. Why are we talking about this right now? Why are we going in the way we are? Look, Black people, we have to disassociate ourselves from being on the team. We're on nobody's team. We're not on the Democrats' team.
We're on our team.
We're on our team. And when it comes to these people that we send to Washington, they work for us. It's our job to make sure that they work for us.
Exactly.
And when they don't work for us, not only take it one step further, not only do they not work for us a lot of times,
They
all
work
the time
against
they're
us.
working against us.
Well,
Like
no, John Lewis worked against us. And look, brother, I didn't really start saying anything until like 2.5 years ago, which means I didn't rush to judge his ass. But I'm like,
yeah,
this shit just keeps getting worse and worse and worse.
because
I should have been doing this 10 years ago, or at least 8, 9, but I didn't. In fact, I hope, honestly, brother, I would like for other black people to fucking do their share of the work of activism, because I don't live in Georgia. I live in DC. I need to be fighting my coons like this dyke that looks like Arsenio became a trans. I mean, Bow Wow. I mean, this broad is awful. Okay. We
that's that DC
we
man,
need
right?
everybody needs to do their share. It's not being done. And so it looks like if you did Georgia, I wouldn't talk about John Lewis. I would keep my mouth shut because that's another group of Negroes taking care of it. But that's not what happens. And so you'll find people who speak up have to speak to everything, because most Negroes are lazy, fence riding grifters, that they leave it to a handful of people to make all the sacrifices, and yet they're supposed to get an equal part. Now, I know a lot of black folks work hourly jobs. I've done them. You do not get paid if you don't sign in on time, do the work everyone else does, and sign out. You don't get paid. If that doesn't happen in your economic life, why would it work in your socio-political life, Mr. and Mrs. Coon? Because it doesn't. All right, now let me say something else about John Lewis. Cynthia McKinney, who's in the same Georgia Democratic delegation as John Lewis, was assaulted by a cracker-ass Capitol Hill policeman.
Oh wow.
And Cynthia was accused of striking the man. And what happened was he grabbed her so hard, she spun around and her hand tapped his face. And she was accused of assaulting this man.
Wow.
And all of them, they censored Cynthia McKinney, and the Congressional Black Caucus didn't even really back her. Now, let me tell you something. When I was with Cynthia McKinney, before this thing happened, like a few days before she got accused of this, Cynthia McKinney had gotten this big, like, large hair thing, big hair thing. It looked nice. I came out of what's called Capital South Metro Station on the blue and orange line. It's the metro station that's right across the street from the Republican National Committee. It's adjacent to the Madison building of the Library of Congress. It's just to the south of the Cannon office building, and it's near the Longworth office, congressional office building. And it's 3 blocks from the U.S. Capitol. I got out in the dark of night and looked up the street and saw 3 women walking, and one woman with this big thing of hair in the dark with the back turned. And because I knew her, I could tell from the stride that was Cynthia McKinney.
Yeah.
That's from behind in the dark.
Yes.
All right. We went into the Mary Pickford Theater to look at a film called American Blackout, where Cynthia McKinney was featured. This is 2006. After we watched the film and some questions and answers came up, I was in the room and I went off on John Lewis for being a punk ass nigga for not backing Cynthia. And I don't give a damn if they're white liberals in here. I'll fight their asses too. I went on John Lewis so hard. John Lewis went and put his head in his hand because it was true. John Lewis would go in the fetal position like he did getting beat on the march because someone came after his ass. Okay, now I'm going to do Cynthia again. Segue to 2011, 5 years later, after Cynthia's in Congress and then gets run out again, we get her back in. Phil Smith, the same man I mentioned earlier, Philip Smith and I and others helped put together a newspaper to get Cynthia back in, I believe, in 2005 or 2006. Then they ran her back out in 2008. But they accused her of attacking the policeman, right? Later, I went to Libya with Cynthia, and we were trying to get John Lewis's punk ass to say no to them bombing and destroying Gaddafi because it was going to cause genocide and enslavement of black folks would be at the risk of these racist ass Arabs. But you know what John Lewis did? He hid. John Lewis hid. And when slavery and the rape, mass murder of black people all over Africa, John Lewis didn't say a goddamn thing. About 2 years ago, they tried to have a march, and the young people booed John Lewis's ass. He went back in the Capitol because people didn't want to hear him. He was an anachronism. He ran out of time, like a sundial or a sand clock where all the sand is at the bottom. His shit's up. And there's nothing you can point to. But when you start thinking about it, every LGBTQ, everything for Zionists, everything for illegals. And yet when we ask John Lewis, you're from Alabama, why don't you do something about hookworm? All the black kids who have worms in their bodies because there's no place safe for them to shit. So the worms are all in the ground. And the kids don't do well in school. And then they end up in crime and have learning problems from worms from their shit. And the world's richest country, the most powerful black man in the Congress of the United States, and you can't get people a place to shit. Who the fuck are you kidding? Okay? And tell me I complain too much. You think I'm militant that I think people should be able to shit and not get disease from this shit? Do I sound like some militant nigga asking for $1 trillion reparations check, which I would take very much, and Christopher Columbus could sign that shit from the grave? But I'm just talking about being able to shit. I'm talking about not having worms in your blood, worms in your brain, worms in your stomach. Where John Lewis is from. Why they had that shit in Georgia too? Why something like this? Now I'm gonna get into my personal thing. In 2013, I worked for the Rebecca Project, which is an anti-eugenics human rights organization that fights for black women and children. Its head is the Honorable Elaine Riddick, a woman who survived being brutally given malpractice sterilization by the state of North Carolina, in which she bled profusely for 30 years of her life. She's the woman that fought and successfully got reparations for the victims of state-sponsored sterilization. And the capacity of being a member of the Rebecca Project for Justice and Human Rights, I approached John Lewis's office to ask them to look at the issue of fluoride poisoning, fluoride lead poisoning, and neurological damage on black children in the state of Georgia and across the country. And when I went to John Lewis's office, there was a young white guy who had a super tight shirt on, looked like the buttons had popped off because his shirt was so tight. His pants were tight. They were high waters, so you could see his pink rose ankles. He had on slip-on shoes. He had a ponytail and no belt on. And
what kind of weird dressing ass motherfucker is this?
Well, it suited John. This really happened. This really happened. Oh, I'm gonna do Maxine next one. Just on John. So I go and we give all this evidence about black people being particularly impacted by fluoride poisoning.
Yes.
Do you know what happened? There must be something wrong with my email. I'm gonna go and check my storage because I've been trying to. I couldn't find the email, but John Lewis's office sent me an email telling me that they were not interested. They always talk about how much John Lewis loves kids. Well, black kids are mentally destroyed by the fluoride and the lead and the manganese and the aluminum that can combine with the fluoride that's in the water. Are you understanding me? There's all sorts of maladies and things that happen that cause mental illness and all these problems in our community. A lot of it has to do with the unsafe drinking water. John Lewis's people basically told me in a nice way, fuck off.
And this is the man
again, I'm not talking about $1 trillion reparations check. I'm talking about safe drinking water. Okay.
Drinking water.
No place to shit. Okay, let the worms get into your bloodstream and all that. But at least, can the water be safe that you drink? John Lewis, they weren't interested.
And now, this is the man that was talking about they're taking our babies at the border.
John Lewis supports mass abortion of black children. John Lewis supports this eugenics. Black babies getting killed. John Lewis supported that. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Sure, he does. Okay, yeah. No. So the things that kill babies, they support it. All the stuff that Nancy Pelosi had in the legislative agenda around killing babies, John Lewis supported it. John Lewis is a fraud. John Lewis is a personable fraud, a con man.
Personable fraud.
With the fist-size rectal opening.
He can shit soda cans, is what you're saying.
Or donkey.
So yeah, you live here on Hotep-ish, hotepish.com. Dr. Randy Short here in the building. Please donate to his Cash App. You see it right here on the bottom of your screen right now. $ Dr. Randy Short.
And you know what? He was a glory hoe or glory whore or a media hoe. He's always trying to get attention. If you go to the new museum, the Black History Museum, you would think that John Lewis was Martin Luther King and Malcolm X's mentor. I mean, they put John Lewis. It's even on the toilet paper. You can't wipe your ass without saying John Lewis has been here, right? You know, I mean, this man really needed to be seen as great. He was very significant when he was young. He made himself irrelevant by not standing for something. Okay? And not standing. I'm talking about he stood for what the white. For me as a black person, John Lewis's legacy, after they put his ass in the ground, it's all going to come out. It's going to be worse. People are going to think I'm kind. Because I'll tell you, he's personable. He's respectful. He's kind to me. He did on a personal level, but on a professional leadership, get stuff done, organization, mobilization, routinization of charisma to make an apparatus, provide tangibles for our community. He was a fucking failure. I mean, he was the Edzo of coon politics. No one would even take that shit off the lot if they knew what it was all about. Okay? Now, I want to say the same thing of this bitch Karen Bass from your city of California in Los Angeles.
Before you go into Karen Bass, give me 1 second before you go to Karen Bass. People, we listening to Hotep-ish. We about to get into Karen Bass. We're going to talk about Maxine Waters. We're going to talk about, in the chat room, John Hill, you talked about Sheila Jackson Lee. We're going to get into all the coon graduates.
You mean Hungry Hippo? Damn,
yeah, so like they ready for you. I just wanted to let them know that it's coming. Now, when it comes to Karen Bass, I'm about to put the camera on you. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Go in. You keep talking.
Okay. Karen Bass. Aside from looking like Uncle Fester had a black sister who didn't get her hair done and has glasses, Karen Bass is a singular failure of looking out for children. In her capacity, she's supposed to be looking for kids in foster care. So she's been in, they've been the biggest holes in the country now, the children in foster care. Come on, Karen. And, you know, I have another question. You know, she's all into like, I mean, they should call her Taco Bell because she only likes Hispanic men. Okay, and her daughter, she had a daughter And I don't know, word in the street, she may have done one of them Kanye things where, you sacrifice someone in advance because her career took off once her daughter died. They do that kind of stuff in Los Angeles. I don't know that. That's a conspiracy theory. But what I want to say also about Karen Bass, Karen Bass, you're a fraud. You're an enemy of black women, Karen Bass. There is a white Roman Catholic member of Congress, Congressman, I believe his name is Smith, from New Jersey, who's on the Humanitarian Committee for Africa. Karen Bass, you support black women in Africa having defective birth control stuck inside of them or given to them that can kill them, that can hurt them, that can alter them. You support eugenics. You support genocide of black women. I like dogs too much to call you a bitch.
Damn.
Okay, so I'm just saying, Karen Bass, you support the USAID sending Depo-Provera to Africa, which contributes to breast cancer, cervical cancer, the contraction of STDs, sterility, mental illness, sudden death. I know because we took the damn report to your staff. You never even responded. You're a liar. You're a fraud. You avoid settings where you can be debated because someone like me could rip your ass like you ripped Sessions. You're an enemy of black people. And what you do in LA is you only help Hispanics. You don't help black folks. You're a tool of the Mexican mafia and Jews. You're not for us. That thing you did with Sessions, by the way, Biden's not going to win. Biden is not going to win. And you're not going to be a vice presidential candidate. It's simply not going to be tolerated, So you can just take your Addams family looking ass and just stay in Congress and continue to be friends with Ed Buck and other people who murder and abuse our people. I thought you were for gay people. Why'd you take money from Ed Buck? You knew about him.
Ooh,
you're not
Ed
stupid.
Buck.
Yeah, she took money from Ed Buck.
Mm-hmm.
And Schiff, it should be called Shiftless or Syphilis. That congressman, Adam Schiff, there's something wrong with him. He looks shaky. That's your buddy. Karen Bass, you're going to be found out. See, this is the one thing that's going on, Karen Bass, is that there's a new era that started in 2020. And I love it because there's 20 and 20. It's a balance. Now, black women that get elected will be scrutinized as harshly as men. And I'm a representative of it. You're a failure. You have facilitated by doing practically nothing the mass rape, marketing, abuse, and destruction, if not murder, of young women and young girls and boys across the country by not doing what you could do. Excuse me, Karen Bass, when did you have a goddamn hearing about missing children? Why do you, Karen Bass, oppose babies that survive abortions getting medical care? Why are you against the Born Alive Act? How many hundreds, if not thousands, of black babies survive an abortion, and then they put that baby in formaldehyde and drown it? I'm talking about a baby that's living, not even a fetus anymore, a little lying heifer, and you drown them, or you leave it in a closet, or they cut it up and they take the pieces out. How do you live with yourself, Karen Bass? How do you? But then again, the Congressional Black Caucus has deals with Pfizer, and y'all can get psychotropic drugs, so y'all can continue to fuck us and act as if y'all are really doing something for us. Everybody, look, I live in D.C. We know the Congressional Black Caucus is a fashion show and after-party orgies. There's no real public policy for black people, okay? She looks like Uncle Fester. Nigga, you need to laugh. You know it's true. She looks like Uncle Fester had a black sister, like they were twins. Okay, and they snapped her fingers, are creepy. She looked like Uncle Fester. I said it. And yes, I would love to debate Karen Bass. There are more black women missing in this country on your watch, Karen Bass. What the hell are you doing about it? Why are you not helping Chris Smith? His name is Chris Smith. Chris Smith, we're going beggar, save black women. There's a white Roman Catholic dude who's right of center trying to save black women. They go to a black woman, and I guess they put her on that committee to make certain that they can fuck kids, to make certain that they can
Man,
rape people. I mean, if you do nothing about it, in fact, I'm going to speak as a Christian. The Bible says if you know something to do that's right and you don't do it, it's sin. If you didn't know, you trifling ass woman, then have a fucking hearing. Investigate. That's what you have a staff for, other than the pander to you. Like Sheila Jackson Lee treats her staff like they're her field slaves. Her little hungry hippo ass with that old ass wig on. Damn. I mean, that thing is older than the Rosetta Stone. She need to take. No, she looks like a fat girl Statue of Liberty. And they be holding up a bucket of chicken. She's holding up a bucket of.
She looked like the Ursula from Little Mermaid. Remember the big old thing from Little Mermaid? That's kind of how Sheila Jackson Lee looked. Like, I think she got 8 tentacles instead of 2 legs.
Let me tell you something. She looks like Henrietta Hippo from the New Zoo Review. Remember that? It's the New Zoo Review. That doesn't she look? I'm serious. And she's a Jamaican. You're not even one of our people, you know. And she's
gonna fight for reparations. She's a Jamaican.
Because they're gonna take it back, you know, put it on a return banana boat trip back to where they came from. Now, I need to get my charger. Can you pause for 1 second?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Pause for 1 second.
We talk about you live here on hotepish.com. Hotep-ish, intelligent ish talk, intelligent shit talk. We are live. Yeah, man, we here talking about Congress, talking about the Senate, talking politics, local and national. And we're doing this conversation because I know this is out the box for a lot of people. You're not used to hearing black people talk about this, especially black political satirists, because the Democrats have done a masterful job over the last 60 years of conflating Democrat and black people and Democrat. That's what they've done a really masterful job doing. And there's no conflation between the two. The Democratic Party was started by slave owners, just, you know what I mean? It's never been a party for us. The Democratic Party, what they've done massively over the last 60 years was, like I said, conflate them, and they've gotten rounded black people up with this whole liberal agenda, this whole liberal ideology, when black people traditionally have always been conservative. Dr. Martin Luther King's parents were conservative. Black people, we're for the most part a very conservative party that have been hijacked by the Democrats and their liberal agenda. And the liberals are the minority in the United States. So the Democrats need the immigrants, they need the blacks, they need everybody they can to push their little bullshit agendas. But here's let me get this point. Here's the test. We all come together when it comes time to fighting for things, but when those things come, these liberals keep all the money, all the resources, all the everything, and they don't pass it back to us as black people. They don't even pass it. They give the immigrants a little bit, but they don't give us shit. And so at some point, we have to know that we have to divorce ourselves from all these parties and see it for what it is and get what we can get from either one, but not being on teams with any of them. Go ahead.
And you know what? I just want to talk about the group I can't stand the most. The pussy-eating feminists that black women are all up under like y'all friends. Because, well, you know, I use Massengill. Well, I use Massengill too. Well, we should be united. I mean, it's dumb as fuck. Just because you use the same feminine products doesn't mean that you're on the same page. Where are the damn feminists for Breonna Taylor? Where were they for Sandra Bland? Where the hell are they? When all these black women are missing, they don't do a goddamn thing. And I mean, and the only men that molest and bother women are black. You stupid ass black women believe that shit? You really think Thomas Jefferson asked Sally before he went down on her?
You think Bill Clinton asked that woman before he had that child that's running around
Bill
right now?
Clinton's got about 7, 8 black kids in Arkansas. And he's not taking care of none of them. I mean, and I would see black women literally creaming their drawers at the sight of Bill Clinton. I'm telling you, I'm cooned out up here, man. This DC will make you mad if you're up here and you watch Negroes cooning. Look, the liberals hate our guts, and the liberals are basically, that thing is Fuck all you want, drink all you want, dope all you want, remain slaves. The
Yeah,
conservatives, the conservatives say remain slaves. In fact, let me add, abort all the babies that you want, fag all you want. So those are your freedoms. And a lot of Negroes think it's free, man. I'm smoking weed. I'm a bisexual. Man, we free in America. Look, I'm with the white boy. He let me lick his ass. Okay. This ain't no like project, bitch. I'm with the real white boy. He one of the Rockefellers, man. My grandfather couldn't have done this no matter how much dick he sucked. And black one about the same. I'm munching the carpet of the Gettys. Well, we went to Smith College together, and all the black men are bad. None of them is shit. All of them have hurt me. And I had to say to one sister who came with that shit, says, there are too many black. If black men had to form a line to run the train on you, the line would circle the planet. So there's no way that all of us fucked you. Okay, some of us fucked you, and if you didn't call the police afterwards, then it wasn't rape. So you mean the people that you chose to fuck you roughly, or maybe you won the rough rider, maybe the dude kept having preemies, and maybe it got into your eyelashes or under your nails, you had whatever. That's you. It's time. What I hate about white feminism and the dumbass black feminists, I call them pork chop. I call them PCBs, brother. That stands for pork chop feminist bitch. PCBs. PCBs. All they do is preach against black men, preach a bit against embitterment, and make women bitter. But you know what? There's 100 times more violence among same-sex women than what men and women do. But there's a conspiracy of silence. I know some gay activists here. Do you know they have an agreement not to go public and not talk about stuff that happens in order to make the gay life look good? So they don't talk about being beaten. They don't talk about getting AIDS. They don't do that. Remember, let me give you an example of Kevin Spacey. Remember Kevin Spacey came out as he was gay after it came out that he was messing with these young men? Remember that? I'll hear you.
I'm back here. I hear you. Yeah. I heard that.
Kevin Spacey. Hold on. The gay community, because they didn't want people looking at them regarding the issue of pedophilia, cut Kevin Spacey off. It isn't that they did not like Kevin Spacey. They didn't want people asking issues of pedophilia and linking it to the pedophiles that are in the gay community. I didn't say all gays are pedophiles, but some
pedophiles within the community.
Fact, they didn't want that, so they didn't help him. That's an example of gay people going mute, on code, on page, be silent. We don't want people to know that what we're doing carries any negative consequences. I had a debate with a gay dude. I crushed his ass because I went right to the heart of it. I said, you know what? I'll just tell you something. He's a little stupid ass millennial dick sucker, right? A few tattoos and, they have swirler friends. So they just know everything, except they don't even know that there are about 45 STDs out here you can get. You can have them all at one time, like collecting all the baseball cards for the major series or the major league. Now, let me just say, I said to him, when I took sex ed, they took a lot of time to explain to us the dangers of teenage fatherhood and teenage motherhood, and there were negative consequences for having heterosexual sex. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
So I'm thinking, wait a minute. If there's negative consequences for heterosexuals having sex, why are you trying to tell me that everything that gays do are perfect? You mean gays don't commit suicide? Gays don't have relationships break up? They don't have domestic violence? They don't have infidelity. They don't have fights. They don't have emotional challenges. It's just all wonderful. Every time you come, it's better than when it's in a vagina. I mean, You mean a man? Every woman that's licked another woman's titties does it better than a man licking them? I mean, really? And he had to shut up because I says, I want you to prove to me that gay folks don't want to commit suicide. I want you to prove to me that gay folks don't have any medical problems. I want you to prove to me that there aren't gay folks who don't have mental health issues. I want you to prove to me that gay people have perfect health. Where is your goddamn data? And he shut the fuck up.
Yep.
Because you can go to the CDC website and it will tell you, regardless of income levels, sodomite, LGBTQ, gay, whatever, Americans have the worst health of all Americans. So there's got to be a problem.
Our domestic violence rates too.
And so look at this coronavirus. You didn't see all the gay groups got together, I think back in April, to all the major gay groups got together to figure out how they're going to manage the media and everything and hide and deal with the necessary predisposition that many LGBTQIAZPCNs, okay, would have with corona. And this explosion in corona in California, whether they want to admit it or not, some of that is LG. And some of it in Florida is LG. Not the virus itself, but people getting sicker from it because you have compromised immunities. Look, this isn't me picking on nobody. My parents, my father and mother ministers. My mother's a professor and certified counselor. My parents had a ministry to gay people. You grow up at the dinner table in your house over holidays. So, I'm not stabbing people with steak knives and killing folks, insulting people. But I will tell you, a whole lot of folks were holes in that community. Real holes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, you know how McDonald's had that thing for the fries? Bet you can't do it all?
Yeah.
That seemed to be the motto of a lot of sissies I knew. You point to a group of people, I had about 5 of them. I mean, I had the big tall one, the little short one, the little red one in the back, the little ruddy one, and his father too. He was the best. I mean, they can tell you all the people that they screwed. I mean,
so what you're saying is the Hershey Highway got traffic jams from time to time. That's what you're saying is.
No, the Hershey Highway's got potholes the size of the Grand Canyon. and everything has a price. An ass isn't a pussy. The ass doesn't have shock absorbers in it like the pussy has. You can't get around it. And I'm not saying it don't feel good. I get it. Someone's enjoying it. It's someone in, but there's a consequence. I like the old school gay people that used to come to my parents' ministry. They would tell you it's wrong, but dick feels so good. If you've tried it, I mean, once these people would almost give a testimony and shit. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in church. I mean,
and that goes in the whole narrative about us being anti-homophobic. They've been all through our churches. We accept them. It ain't been nothing. No
they're all through the HBCUs. They're all through sports. Okay. Yes. No, they're all through the fucking prisons, and they're through the reform schools, and they're in the fucking army. No, there's a link between being marginal and sexuality. If 1 in 9 black children end up in foster care, 1 in 9, that's 1 in 9 got a chance of getting raped. I was babysat by one of my big brothers, gay, died from AIDS in the 80s, was raped in foster care repeatedly. I'm very real with people. There's incest and sexual abuse in the network I grew up in. That's why I hate the lies. Let's talk about this shit. Let's stop it. Let's stop the ripping of women, children, boys. Let's stop this shit because I get it. Once Charles Anderson has been ripped like this, it changes people. If guys get in the room, they start joning, man, I ain't a faggot. Even if you didn't want it. So what is a faggot? A faggot's a person that fucked their ass. Well, that points to Charles. Damn, he couldn't keep him out. Do you understand? And we have a very unforgiving culture that reinforces and says, you have to stay in that group because this happened to you. We do not have a culture that heals and rescues people.
Yeah.
We let sleeping dogs lie. I should say, we let preying predators rove. And then we blame the victims. In particular, if it's a big, strong dude that's raping people, a gorilla sissy, if it's a little pixie like 5'2" with tight pants on with a high-pitched voice, we get self-righteous about his sexuality. Let it be a big basketball playing nigga or football playing nigga or someone that just came out of prison that bench presses 800 pounds all day.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you won't call him a sissy because he'll help himself to show you what a good one he is. So we in our community have double standards and a lot of dishonesty about this sexual thing. And my thing is help everyone that wants to leave. I think most people want out. But I'll tell you something, a lot of folks are afraid of them and it because they don't know where they stand. You know, you can't have a person go to a ministry and say, you know, I have sexual problems. So the preacher says, you do. The man pull up his pants, let me help you. So we have a lot of predators and pimps in our community that exacerbate the problem, which is why I'm less harsh. I'm not harsh at all. The Black community is fratrophobic and genophobic, but not homophobic. We hate ourselves as a people. We brothers hate one another. If we're not killing each other, then we're fucking each other in the ass or stealing or fucking your woman. We have a culture that you should expect as dysfunctional and wrecked and ripped as it is. I'm surprised we're not 50% gay, lesbian, and bisexual the way we're fucked up. The way almost everything is terrible. The way the women hate the men. The way Black women hate Black men. They're the nastiest people. You got the personality of battery acid and shit. When you go in the store, little nasty bitch with the weave that don't put all your shit in the bag. Oh, I was putting it in there. You know, you almost wish you could have King Kong slap her in the face with the penis because she's so fucking mean. Okay. So we've got a lot of dysfunction in our community. Is it solvable? Yes. Do we have the will and the desire to solve it? That's a different question. This is why I don't like John Lewis and I'm mad at other people. I'm going to hold up a quickie book. This book here, Imagine Community.
Imagine Communities. Okay. Imagine Communities.
And it talks about what you call white, what you call French or Spanish or German. These are imagined communities of people are born when people want to be a people. You and I are talking to each other because we want to talk to each other, which means there's a relationship. If we keep talking, it's just going to grow. And the networks and the cross between people that know Dwann and Short, right, grows. We haven't decided to be a nation. We have refused to be a nation. I should say people like John Lewis and Karen Bass, who's too ugly to be called the B word. These people who are all up under either, I call them Roxy Doxy. Roxy stands for Republican or die coon. Dotsy is Democrat or die coon. And I'm going to use my term.
I like that.
Roxy Dotsy. And then the other thing is for Karen Bass is she's a Democunt. Okay. The Democunts. Maxine's a Democunt. Kamala's a Democunt. Sheila Jackson Lee is a Democunt. Maybe Barbara Lee isn't exactly a Democunt, but she's close. Okay.
A quick question. What do you think about Keith Ellison?
He's a piece of shit. He's a Muslim.
He used to be Nation of Islam. Now all of a sudden he's missing everybody.
A lot of people in the Nation of Islam are a piece of shit. There are about 5 branches of them. There's one that Silas Muhammad has the Nation of Islam about, 10, 12 blocks from my house. There are lots of Nations of Islam. You're talking about the Farrakhan Nation of Islam, okay? Yeah. The bean pie paper Muslims. Okay, now, Keith Ellison dog black people as a prosecutor. Keith Ellison hates black people. Keith Ellison likes swirling. The rumor is it's alleged that he likes being the third wheel between white lesbian couples. Keith Ellison beats the shit out of women. Keith Ellison's alleged to have cheated on his black wife. Keith Ellison is going to do everything he can to get those officers who killed Floyd George off. Keith Ellison is more into being a Muslim than he is. I call them crescent coons. These are niggas who are more into Islam than black. I am a Christian, but trust me, my Christianity doesn't shit on me being a black person. I have met a whole bunch of fake ass, no good, jive, punk ass niggas who become Muslims so they can be second class or third class Arabs. So you can collect camel dung for them or be their mercenaries to fight their wars. I don't see you bust a great here for black rights. Malcolm X would have become a Church of God and Christ member if he saw how fucked up many of the black Muslims today are. There's no dignity, there's no pride, there's no self-respect for blackness. Everything has to be Islamic. They come to a family reunion, and if everything isn't halal, well, I gotta leave. So you're gonna reject your family. Your biological family is the enemy because you have a fucking Pakistani imam who won't even sit or pray or get around you. I've been in masjids, and there's more Jim Crow, anti-black racism in the masjids than a cracker evangelical church.
They was the first ones to come in and enslave Africa. People
Yeah,
that
but they're the look. Yeah. Wait. Let's go back. Floyd George was executed on the order of the Muslims in Minneapolis. Eric Garner was executed on the order of Muslims in Staten Island. That's a Muslim store he was murdered outside of, an Arab store. Cup Foods is a Palestinian store. They work with the Bloods and Crips. They sell drugs. They're possibly involved in human trafficking. They launder money, cell phones. They extort, and they have $250 million worth of property, and they make certain that black people can't have businesses in their neighborhood. And we love them because their hair is a little straight. In fact, one of the owners of Cup Foods is alleged to rape little black girls, and they're community heroes. And in the basement of Cup Foods, where they're doing all this wicked stuff, is a masjid. So it's an Islamic temple outside of which they sacrifice George Floyd.
Wow, that's
when we got and they give money to the politicians. Ilhan Omar and Keith Ellison have probably gotten money from the Abu Malayef family that owns Cup Foods. They're thugs, they're gangsters, they're crooks, and they money launderers. And George Floyd got a counterfeit 20. He didn't give a counterfeit 20. He received one. That's what the fight was about. And they killed him to hide their scam.
Wow. See, thank you for that information, Dr. Randy Short. You listen to Dr. Randy Short here on Hotep-ish, hotepish.com. Please hit the Cash App for Dr. Randy Short. You see it here on the bottom, Dr. Randy Short $.
Are you feeling me, brother? This is a scam. They're in our neighborhoods everywhere. In Baltimore, they're the stores selling us all the dopes and the loose cigarettes and selling alcohol to underage people. They're all Muslims. Is this what Malcolm X thought about? I don't think the hell so.
And the thing that trips me out about a lot of people when they say, well, Islam is our original religion. No, Islam is the first people that enslaved your asses. The European wouldn't have been able to do what he did had there not been the Arab invasion coming into Africa, turning people Muslim for 800 years before the European had a chance to come off the Arab.
Let me help you some more. I was just reading an article. I have to look for it. You know that there's this Nigerian singer who's come out as gay. And in the article that I was reading, because this is something that they won't tell you, that when they did take black men as slaves, they castrated them all. And 90% of them died from the castration. They just did it in a real nasty way, so they bleed to death. And the ones that survived became the fag toys of the Arabs. That's why you don't see a lot of dark-skinned people in the Middle East, because of the black men who had all their dicks and nuts cut off. And you know what? Islam continues to castrate black folks. That's what's going to get to back with John Lewis and Libya that slavery and that abuse and all that stuff that happened in Libya when John Lewis was in Congress, after we warned him in advance, did he ever say a fucking thing about it? No. Do you see Al Arabiya or any of the Arab news networks talked about atrocities against black people? When they had the mass death of maybe 4,000 or 5,000 black people in Mecca, that they engineered a mass stampede, then they blamed the black people for being murdered by them as their fault? Wouldn't even send the bodies back or do anything. It was just, well, black people don't know how. You know what? I didn't say that Islam's bad. I didn't say it wasn't about religion. I said there's a lot of institutionalized anti-black racism in Islam, just like there is in white Christianity and in white Judaism, and we need to be honest about it. So don't please come and boast and tell me about you finding a better religion. It's a big conspiracy of science. In fact, it's kind of cultic. I can talk about racism in the church. And I can go off on Kenneth Copeland, who's stealing land from black people in Mound Bayou, Mississippi. That's right. That's what that editor called about me on the phone. This little cracker, lion-ass preacher down in Texas buys off little chicken bone, crooked-ass nigger preachers who steal land from black people and give it to white folks for almost nothing. Okay, I can talk about that. But when folks are Muslims, are selling bad milk, and bad food and all this stuff in black areas, black Muslims start talking about universal brotherhood. They're fucking liars. Okay, you're liars. This is I ask people, hey, you didn't hear me say, oh, Islam's no good. You didn't hear me say that. You're hearing me say that people are not practicing the universal brotherhood. They practice something else. I have sat in the masjid and seen people that are Pakistan in particular, super racist ass people who all fuck their own cousins. That's why so many of them are retarded. Yes, that's real talk. 1 in 6 Pakistanis in England have major medical and mental problems from having sex too closely with the same people. They're so racist. We only want to screw our own family members to keep us, and they're all messed up. So imagine if you want to screw your first cousin because you're so against everybody else, how are they going to react when they get to a masjid with black people? They're not going to want you around. I've been to the masjids. They get all the little lights. And so you know what? A lot of black people becoming Muslims is a way to become white. It's another way to run away from being black. Okay, I've seen people at Harvard. The reason that they were gay was an identity that wasn't black. It could get them further. Islam could get them further. Gayness could get them further. Being a conservative, Candace Owens, I'm always going to be hard on black people, will get me further, even if I don't really believe all of what I'm saying. Or if I'm a Democrat or die liberal, and I do think a man is a woman's a man, and an asshole is a vagina, and that gets them further than standing on black values or black points of view. This is what you're dealing with. So you have coon Muslims, coon Buddhists, coon Christians, coon atheists. I've seen a lot of atheists that are coons, that by not saying that you don't believe in God, they can get closer to white people because the white folks don't like the values of black people. Well, I don't have the values of black people. I'm an atheist. Who do you like you? I'm an agnostic, right? Coon Episcopalians, coon Baptists, coon holiness, coon apostolic, coon Pentecostal, coons, fake ass, lying ass, never stand up, never fought for nothing, never been about nothing, coon ass people who serve either a camel jockey dude that wants you to be a slave or a faggot L'Oreal Jesus that wants you to suck his dick and pick his cock. I mean, who needs this guy? I mean, damn.
And to piggyback off what you said as far as people having these other identities to escape blackness, the evidence to show that that's true is when you look at somebody like a Lori Lightfoot over in Chicago.
Dykefoot.
Yeah. with the little blowout. She's the only person that's still wearing 1992 bongo jeans and a pick in her head. But you see what she's doing to the black people.
That's a sex toy.
Because in her mind, she's LGBTQ first before she's black. And that's part that, like, us as black people, we're starting to pick up on the game now. When you see people putting these other titles first, they're telling you, I'm that before I'm you.
She's for her husband, her whatever that thing is. It looks like Larry Bird her woman looks like Larry Bird from the Boston Celtics. Her carpet before her race. My white woman's carpet before my people. But that's okay. Kanye's that way with Kardashian. You see this on all the sides. I mean, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere, man. I want to thank you, Dr. Short, for coming on and giving us this information.
Mm-hmm.
Any last things you want to say before we come?
Yes.
Go ahead.
They need to email me, wrandyshoot@gmail. Y'all need to get this hydroxychloroquine. They're making more stuff to kill black people. I have a document. I need to send it to you, brother, and you need to send it out where where they've developed the coronavirus has a receptor portion on it that targets black people. Black folks have 39 receptors for this particular receptor on the virus. So this is a bioengineered weapon. The hydroxychloroquine works. I've been using it since April, and I'm not dead. You don't have to take a lot of it. It helps you develop immunity. You absolutely, my people. You need zinc, you need vitamin C, you need vitamin D, and you need some hydroxychloroquine. I do know a doctor that knows a network of doctors, and these are low dose. Don't get high dose. There's a way to get treated to cover yourself. Most people don't know that myself, Reverend Clinton Childress, and Pastor Stephen Broden in Texas wrote a letter to Donald Trump back in March begging for him to step in so black people wouldn't die disproportionately from corona. Donald Trump, to his credit, as much as y'all hate him, when he heard that there's a possibility that this hydroxychloroquine could save the lives of black people, he started pushing it. That's why they're pushing against the hydroxychloroquine, because they want black people to die. That includes the Congressional Black Caucus, Maxine Waters and others. They want you dead. They want you dead. And they'll grin and smile and tell you I'm crazy, but hydroxychloroquine works. There are other things. But if you get Obamacare like I do, my hydroxychloroquine was free. The pharmaceutical companies that want to sell you vaccinations at $3,500, $4,500 a pop, look at the financial reasons for why they'd be against a drug that can be produced as cheap as free to 1 cent to 10 cent a pill. 28 pills can cover you for about a year and a half. You understand what I'm trying to say to you? $2.80, that's not even 2 packs of juicy fruit gum if you go to the right store. The hydroxychloroquine works. Take zinc, 50 milligrams of zinc a day. You must have it. More people will die. There are more diseases coming. Swine flu. They're going to let a tick-borne disease out. But if your immunity is up, you'll be all right. They do want us to die. There's a conspiracy to kill us. You know what's interesting? One group of people who don't have the receptors for the coronavirus,
who?
Hasidic Jews. I don't know how that happened. I'm not putting that. I'm just talking to you there. Okay. I want people to live. And last thing I'll say is, if you see me on the right with Roger Stone, if you see me with any Republicans, I want you to know that when I sent in Dwann, your name, and others, I think you heard us talking about reparations and so forth, black political prisoners being free. When I talk to the Republican people, even if they don't listen to me, I put a black agenda that I felt: job training, protect us from illegals, right? Hint certain things to go after pedophilia, so forth. Whatever you do, be good in it. If you're a commie, as much as I have issues with the atheism and other stuff, be a good black commie. But for communists, black socialists, black Democrat, Republican, black, whatever you are, Baptist, be a good black one. If everybody did as much as they could, and we were working together as this black nation, this imagined community. Look, white folk had to do it. White people weren't always united. Why do you think the Romans were able to go in and kick their ass and take their stuff? And others,
They
and
were
the
ethnic.
Mongols.
They were Berbers. They were
People
Huns.
had to come together and discover we need each other. You reach out to me, brother Dwann. I didn't say, well, fuck this nigga, Afrocentric Buddha nigga. I ain't know him. Where the fuck you from? So you reach out to me, I'm going to reach back to you. You respect me, I'm going to respect you. We're not going to save everybody. Large numbers of our people are going to die. Maybe we need to. Maybe the herd's too big. You know, and Harriet Tubman didn't try to get everybody to go with her ass because Harriet said, well, damn, hey, isn't there an outhouse out here? I'm not going to wipe my leaf. I'm not going to wipe my ass with no leaves, Harriet. I'm not going to do that. Right. Okay, I know people that they're not going to help us get where we're going. So they're already dead to us. I mean, I've learned not to be sentimental about it.
Yeah.
But those who want to be a people, that want to be a community, let's come together. Last thing, Coon Busters is coming. Please join me. Be a Coon Buster. Coon Busters is a movement. I want to start where we hold people accountable. I'm talking about businessmen, politicians, coon preachers, especially coon preachers. We need accountability and reciprocity. There's a term in sociology called reciprocal bonding. You and I are reciprocally bonding. You call me, I call you, you reach me, I reach back. Then we have a bond. We have to learn to do this in particular as black men. And trust me, brothers, we can, just because you like another black man doesn't mean you have to fuck him or that he wants to fuck you. We're going to have to learn as black men to have a love that's not genitalic friction oriented. Where I can come and get, and I'm not thinking, damn, he got a juicy booty for a nigga. I mean, we should be able to come together for the survival. White homosexuals are white first.
Yep.
Sexuality coons are a Trojan horse. Sexuality coons are a Trojan horse. A sexuality coon is a person that puts their freakishness ahead of their group survival. Last thing I'm going to do is put out a pitch. There's a very good film made 2 years ago by brother Curtis Scone called Black, White, and Blue. It is on Amazon Prime. It's 77 minutes, $3? If you have Amazon Prime or if you know someone, see it. It's a good film. I'm featured in it. We were warning people about Black Lives Matter back in 2018. People thought I was picking. And by the way, you haven't heard about the film because Black Lives Matter or Black Fags Matter or whatever the hell they are. They're mad at me because I've been fighting their ass for 5 years. I'm going to keep fighting them. When I die, my soul will go and take a shit on the office building if they have one, or a virtual building, another server. Look, stay away from them. They're dangerous. And I know folks close to Trump, don't be surprised one day you wake up and Black Lives Matter has been declared a terrorist group. They're going to round niggas
Black
up.
identity extremists.
Whatever. Under Patriot Act, they can just get your asses. If you better not stay their ass away from this shit, they're about to come down. And I'm against police brutality. But I'll tell you, tearing monuments down doesn't put food in my guts. It doesn't wipe my ass. It doesn't brush my teeth. It doesn't pay my light bill, okay? And it can't buy me some weed from the dispensary. We need real stuff. We need housing, shelter, business control, community control. We do need self-defense. I have real issues with the Not Fucking Around Coalition. You're dumb as fuck if you told me that you had a march in Stone Mountain Park, you had your face covered, but damn it, you had to park in the parking lot. You don't think they took pictures of your license plates? That's some kind of setup.
It feels that way.
That's a fucking setup. That little Bert the Turtle from Duck and Cover, the strange looking dude. I'm not saying that I'm for weapons, Second Amendment.
Yeah.
I told you my grandfather smoked someone. I didn't tell you Bill Cosby's uncle decapitated a white man. We have people in my family that have shot and fought people. I'm for the guns, but guns in our service, not guns of dangerous snitches, interlocutors. What people don't know is Fred Hampton Jr. refused to let what's called the Not Fucking Around Coalition use the name Huey Newton or Fred Hampton Gun Club because they're not legit. The guns are legit, but they aren't. And if you don't understand this shit called pulse weapons up in the satellites, where they can make the guns not fire. If you can't make your own guns, bullets, and your own bulletproof plates and breasts, if you don't make it yourself, don't make your enemies know that you've got one. If you can't make your own bullets, let them find out that you stacked. Let them find out that you're strapped. Don't make them aware. The one weapon that we should never give away is that of surprise. Never tell your enemies what you're going to do, who you are, what you're doing. That's too much intelligence. And for that coon to tell people that they're all former military, doesn't he recognize that they can kill all of them? Just wait for them to have their VA appointments and kill them all.
Wow. Can you repeat that movie again?
Now, the movie is called Black, White, and Blue. You black, white, blue, black, white, no, black, white, blue. That's right. Black, white, and blue, black, white, blue. Yeah, black, white, and blue, not black, white, and blue. Here's the film. It's 77 minutes long. It's the only film talking about police brutality and black issues where everything is paid for and done by blacks. Black Lives Matter does not want you to see the film because I dogged them so badly. At the Sundance Festival, all the people were laughing at Black Lives Matter. The people, so I got put on their enemies list, and I'm proud to be there. And I would do everything I can to be a bigger enemy to Black Lives Matter this year and next. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Short, for coming on in us. We got to talk again soon because I want to cover some more stuff, but people got to get out of here. I got your Cash App down here. Please donate to Dr. Randy Short's Cash App. You see it down here on the bottom right here, $, Dr. Randy Short. Follow him. Follow Brother Ron on We All Be TV. He has great interviews with
Coon Busters. It's coming. I bought the domain. Coon Buster.
Yes.
It's coming.
And remember this, Dwann B, hotepbitch.com. We're gonna talk again soon. And remember this, people, everybody listening. There are no perfect messengers, only perfect messages for those who wanting to pick up game. So before you get all into who is this, listen to the game, listen to the message. If it's for you, roll with it. If it ain't, keep pushing. We out of here. Thank you, Dr. Short.
And John Lewis is pushing where he is right now. That great glory hole in the sky, full of dick, milk, and honey. There's no rectal prolapses. There's no preparation H. There's no colostomies up there. John has made it. Amen.
On the Edmund Pettis Bridge in heaven.
Yeah, and you know what? And up there, he can make love to the policeman. They don't have to use. We in heaven. You don't have to use your nightstick here. Well, not the one in your hand.
Thank you, Dr. Short.
All right. See you then. Bye-bye.